Hello Internet, Taliesin here, and today we are talking Transmog. Because let's face it, the clothes that you wear are important. It's how I decide which of my friends not to invite to that AA meeting, or to after work drinks, or to anything at all. And how you look is going to be just as important in the upcoming World of Warcraft expansion, Battle for Azeroth. Battle for Azeroth is going to be a whole different ball game when it comes to equipable and transmoggable looks. Because not only are there 2 new continents to level through with themed armor and dungeon sets to match, not only do we have 6 new playable races with unique heritage looks to unlock, not only do we have super over-the-top faction pride PvP sets to not bother collecting, not only do we have a whole world of new weapon drops to get sweaty over after the artifact-induced famine of Legion, but we also have changes and advancements to the way different slot items are even designed and built, meaning that armor and transmog in the next expansion promises to be the most detailed, varied, and downright badass collection of spiky glowing uncomfy glad rags we've seen in game yet. So join us as we take a preview of the new armor and transmog of the upcoming World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth, okay? Go, 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 go. So I don't know if you've heard, you probably haven't, but one of the lesser known features of Battle for Azeroth are the new allied races. 6 new playable races that players can complete a short quest line to unlock, who will then start at level 20. They're not quite a hero class, more of an annoying sidekick class, and be able to experience all of that lovely new scaling leveling content. Or I suppose, old leveling content. Okay, content is old, scaling is new, you know what I mean? To get to max level and be like a proper real life character that you can actually play through the current content. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Taliesin, I really like the idea of the new scaling old leveling content, and I'm definitely going to give it a go, and I'm not being funny here, there are 6 of those allied races. I don't care how much I get to skip Outland, that is still a proper slog, you know? Clearly, I'm just going to race change all my characters to Nightborne, give them cool names like What Are You Hiding, and enjoy max level awesomeness straight away. Well, Blizzard have taken your exceptional laziness into account, and as an incentive to level these characters in the time-honoured way and properly experience all of that new old scaling, we have the Heritage Armor sets, one for each allied race that can only be unlocked for that race by leveling a character from scratch level 20. And as interesting and enticing as the new level scaling sounds, that's still tens of hours of gameplay that these sets are locked behind. So to be worth it, they're going to have to be something a bit special, and generally they are. Let's start with the Void Elves, probably the most challenging of the sets for Blizzard to design in the first place, because there's not really any established looks for the Void Elves already in game, seeing as they, and let's be honest here, were literally just made up on the spot as an excuse for the Alliance to be able to use Blood Elf models. The lore doesn't feel like it quite fits to me, and the game has a job on its hands to sell them as an Alliance race really, but these sets should help. And before we get started, don't forget that all of these heritage sets are universal transmogs, so you can use them on cloth, leather, mail, or plate gear. So this could be your warrior, which is weird. Awesome, but weird. At the bottom half of this set is nothing that we haven't seen before. Suitably gold and dark blue, all featuring that new fidelity that we've been seeing making its way into the game over the last couple of expansions. But the top half is where the party's at. For a start, it's good that Blizzard recognised that the main reason any of us like the Blood Elf models is when it comes down to it, it's a universal fact that we all really like to see sexy shaped people showing off their sexy bits, and the Void Elves don't let us down there, because there are sexy bits all over the place here. Void Elves really are a bit of blue in more ways than one, you know? There's the obligatory Magneto hat that you'll never wear, because no matter how good it doesn't look as good as actual glowing hair though, does it? And the main part of the set is those Void wings, made of actual glowing void, which means those wings aren't like physical things that exist, they're holes. They're like little portals into the void, which fits well with their racial being a teleport, but should also mean that they get their own personal void storage, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. It's known that when the Void Elves enter combat, they morph into a void form, and it would be an especially cool feature if that's when the Void Wings appear on this armor set rather than them being there all the time, but I guess we'll have to wait and see on that one. The Highmountain Tauren set is basically the armor set you've always wanted on your Tauren character that never existed until now. Just like the Highmountain Tauren customization options are the tribal tattoos that you always wanted on your Tauren character, and that's before we even get started on the moose horns. Basically, Highmountain Tauren are everything you like about cows, but more so. Why would you not pick Highmountain Tauren over the standard version? Well, there's the fact that Mulgore is the coolest, most magical, beautiful starting area in the game for one, but I mean, aside from that, Highmountain have got it all going on. Look, they even get their own cool druid forms, like a cat with moose horns and a bear with Moose horns? Okay, you know what, actually, I don't think I will play a Highmountain after all. I just don't know if I've got time to level one, you know? And I'm not sure if the nightmares will ever end. But if I were going to play one, I would be especially pleased with just how intricate this set manages to be, while keeping a simplicity and clarity of vision, which I really appreciate. I love the thick extra padding and the symbol on the right-hand glove. The totems on the back are completely badass, and also I just want to say that there is absolutely nothing at all about that headdress that makes me think of the village people. Like, when I looked at this set, the one thing I definitely did not think of was the village people, you know? It wasn't even slightly what the set said to me, so I don't know why you've even brought it up, frankly, because to me there is nothing about this that makes me think that those horns are already pretty much in the shape of a Y. All we need is the options to make an MCA, and we're rolling. Nothing made me think of that, just to be clear. Next up, there's the Lightforged Draenei, and this is an aesthetic that we're all very familiar with after so much time spent on the Blingdakar in Legion. Many of us have already collected sets in our existing characters that look a lot like this from Argus. So, like the Lightforged Draenei in general, really, there's a real danger that this could be a little underwhelming, which is a shame. The solid Dranic plate all over the really well-textured mail is brilliantly done, and those glowing yellow bits everywhere are never not going to be cool, are they? And if you do happen to be of the opinion that this is all just an especially good version of things we've seen before, then it's worth pointing out that there seem to be colour variations of this set available too. So hey, you want it more silver and gold? You got it! You want a Daredevil-style red number? We can make that happen. You want a sick-ass purple void version? Oh man, have you come to the right place. A place where the actual lore doesn't matter in the slightest, and it's all about looking cool. This does raise the question, does this mean that all of the Heritage Armor sets will have multiple recolors available? You'd have to say it seems likely given the evidence, wouldn't you? Moving on to the Nightborne elves, and I'm just going to come out and say it, this is easily the best of the lot, and I can't wait to start my new character Not Quite Right the second this race becomes available. Again, the armor set itself is nothing too far removed from what we're all used to seeing in Suramar throughout the last expansion, but unlike the Lightforged Draenei set, we haven't had a chance to gather anything that looks like this. Quilted fabrics teamed up with chrome details and all emitting those beautiful Nightwell purple arcane illusions everywhere. This set is just everything you hoped it would be. It's going to take an awful lot to make you mog out of it, and I dare say we are going to see a veritable invasion of Nightborne characters into the Horde come Battle for Azeroth. And this set also seems to have alternative colour options, but despite how undeniably cool it is, despite how perfectly Blizz have nailed this set, nothing can ever make up for the disappointment of not being able to play as a Nightborne druid. Easily the best thing about the Nightborne disguise you got in Suramar was that if you were a druid and you changed into cat form, you became a mana saber. It was the best thing ever, and frankly, fuck you Blizz for shitting all over that dream. But yeah, nice set, fine. Kind of the polar opposite of the Nightborne look is the Dark Iron Dwarves. No curvy delicacy for them. Their heritage armor is, well, it's square, isn't it? It's like the squarest thing ever made, and it's essentially what WoW would look like if WoW only existed on Minecraft. It's that square, which is great. I mean, that's exactly what a Dark Iron set should be, because Dark Iron Dwarves, they love square things. They love square doors, square buildings, square rooms. Still, it is, like, really square though, isn't it? I especially like the square pads on the hips, as if being allowed to show a natural hip silhouette was just not quite square enough. And honestly, is there any way we could possibly make this any more square? And the answer is yes, we can. Here are some weird square hip pad things, and now it is more square. You're welcome. I'm not criticizing it, by the way. I love this set. It's perfect. I love the shoulder pads in the shape of anvils, just in case we've forgotten that, you know, they really like iron. And the fact that they haven't gone over the top with the glowing fire parts of it. And I also want to say, if I ever find myself in a situation where I'm using a public toilet in Shadowforge and the toilet rolls aren't studded black metal with skulls on, I'm going to be really disappointed, okay? The last allied race is the Zandalari Trolls, and let's be perfectly honest here, Blizz could address these in bin bags, and people would still go absolutely crazy over them, because come on, look, these guys are awesome, and they prove what your auntie always said when you were a teenager. You are so much more attractive when you stand up straight. You were right, auntie, and I'm sorry I ever doubted you. So it's good to see that this set shows off that new godlike physique to the maximum by, well, not really covering up any of it with clothes. What I love about this set is that even though there's not much of it in terms of actual coverage, what armor there is pleasingly chunky and solid looking. Especially those boots, those are genuinely awesome. No one is going to mind that the Zandalari seem to have the same floaty shoulder problem as their Darkspear cousins. No one is going to mind that stupid mask that they're instantly going to unequip, because everyone is just so happy that we finally got playable Zandalari Trolls, who, as everyone knows, are the coolest looking trolls. Or at least they were before Blizzard revealed the new Blood Trolls, because yes, this is really cool, but they're not as cool as this though, are they? The fact that Blizzard finally gave us Zandalari Trolls and then on the same day revealed a new, even cooler type of troll that you can't play is in itself the greatest troll of all. GG Blizz. GG. Those those of us who care about cool transmog already know that PvP is a really great way to get some of the coolest looking gear going, and the great thing about Legion is you didn't really have to PvP to get it. Just doing a few towers as world quests would get you enough marks of honor to purchase whole sets from the Dalaran PvP vendor, which were all unique edgelord recolors of the current tier sets, and those who actually were willing to get their hands dirty and do some fighting could get edgelord recolors of the current mythic sets. Battle for Azeroth, though, looks to be raising the bar with its designs. When these sets were shown at BlizzCon, it was clear to everyone that when Blizzard said they were going to be doubling down on faction identity in this expansion, they were not mucking around. And although the actual designs and themes of these sets aren't surprising at all, what is striking is just how well realized they are. I mean, even on a human model, these Horde sets look, for want of a better word, savage. So imagine how great they'll look on a new upright orc. Yes, I know, me too. But what's really gotten people excited is this Alliance set with this cloak. Before we start wanking each other off though, let's remember that unlike the Horde sets that we see here, the Alliance ones aren't actually rendered models. This is concept art. This cloak doesn't actually exist yet, and in all likelihood, the finished model will look nothing like this. What if it did look like this? Yeah, I know, me too. And this faction identity, i.e. the Horde identify with the colour red and spikes, and the Alliance really love lions, like lions are totally their thing, can be seen in the PvP weapon sets too, where it's fair to say the Horde come out on top, seeing as they have this rather splendid polearm and probably the best shield in the history of the game. Look, I don't want to argue about this, okay? I'm just saying that if you play Warrior and you don't transfer to Horde to get this shield, then frankly you're no kind of Warrior at all, that's all I'm saying. Unless the Alliance cloak really does look like this, then I can understand you being an Alliance Warrior. Okay, fine, it's a draw. We have two different leveling continents in Battle for Azeroth, Zandalar for Horde and Kul Tiras for the Alliance. So rather unusually, we're going to have two completely different styles of leveling armor to collect. We haven't seen any completed Zandalar sets made public yet, only glimpses of what we saw on the demos at BlizzCon, so we can't talk in too much detail about them here, but suffice to say, they look a bit like the heritage armor of the coolest trolls, okay, the second coolest trolls. As in, there's lots of gold, it's kind of Incan, kind of Aztec, there's lots of nubile Horde flesh on display as you'd expect and as you'd want. What I'm really interested in talking about here though is the Kul Tiras looks. We've already seen some of these before with the Elite cloth sets, and the other armor types follow the same theme, which is exciting for me because it's an aesthetic I've wanted to see in WoW since day one. A kind of vaguely 18th century seafaring privateer kind of look. So we're talking buckles, we're talking cuffs, we're talking tri-horn hats, we're talking coarse rope leather and corsets and waistcoats, and all of it with this terrific worn look, like it's seen use battling against the elements. All topped off with some really cool looking anchor themed weapons and shields. It's a look so good that even Jaina has taken it up, and if we manage to look half as awesome as her, then I'm into it. I'm into it, Jaina. I just want you to know. And no, they're not super detailed or inventive, but they're such a departure from what we're used to that I think they're great, and I can't wait to start putting them together on my account. We've seen some extra Kul Tiras looks as well, so whether these are dungeon sets or maybe even raid sets, we don't know, but these are even better. What I'm assuming are leather on the left, then plate and mail, but maybe it's mail and plate. Anyway, this one could have come from any expansion really, even though it is surprisingly detailed and three-dimensional when you actually look at it, but this is a thing of absolute beauty. It's the same as we've seen the Kul Tiran monster hunters wearing. The boots are classic fantasy, and the armor pieces over the cloth are just of a style and fidelity that, again, we've never really seen in WoW before. This looks like an island people who are kind of stuck back in time a bit, and the helmet is one of my favourite things ever. Proper English Civil War feel about this, but still unmistakably Warcraft. The piece de la resistance, though, has to be the leather set, because seriously, yes, just yes. Why has it taken so long for a knee-length dandy highwayman coat to make it to the game? Well, okay, technical and graphical limitations, obviously, but I thought I liked the new Rogue Tier 21 set, but actually I was wrong, because this is the armor set I've waited my whole Warcraft life for. Everything about this is perfect. Your cavalier boots, your double-breasted buttons, big collar, waistcoat, and is that an armored cravat? Fuck my life, sign me up! And I'm really hoping that the armor we see Jaina's mum wearing here gives us some idea of some snazzy naval shoulders that we might be able to equip too. Of course, an important question is, if these are leveling sets from Kul Tiras, does that mean the Horde can get them? Since they do their leveling on Zandalar. If they're dungeon sets, then everyone can loot them, and be honest, you want to see a Nightborne elf wearing this jacket. jacket as much as I do, don't you? No? How about a Tauren? There you go. And this is the merest tip of the Transmog iceberg when it comes to Battle for Azeroth. We know, for example, that we won't be getting any tier sets in Froth. The gear from the first raid is going to be specifically very Titan Troll themed, and although I have only the vaguest notion what that actually means, I do know it sounds pretty cool. And that's before we even get started with hunting down Queen Ashara and all the kind of stuff that might come along with that. And that's before we even get started on Blood Trolls. Okay, I might be reaching with Blood Trolls, but fingers crossed. What do you think of what we've seen of Battle for Azeroth's Transmog so far? Let us know in the comments below. And thanks for joining us today. If you've enjoyed this video, don't thank us, thank our patrons who give their actual real-life money to make them happen. These videos would simply not exist without you. If you didn't like it, downvote the shit out of it. Remember, my name is Rich Campbell. No, my name is Taliesin from me and Evertel. Until next time, cheerio.